Welcome to Trust Talks with BBB Serving CT. I'm Kristen Johnson. In business, Trust Talks and Better Business Bureau's mission is to enhance marketplace trust. In each one of our episodes, we hope to give you a better idea of what to look for, what to look out for, and what to expect so you can spend your money wisely and avoid being scammed. 3,600. That's the number of business scam reports to Better Business Bureau's Scam Tracker since 2022. Federal agencies estimate that businesses have lost billions in the last 3 years to scams. That's why BBB's International Investigations Unit has taken a deeper dive into the issue of business scams. And today we're going to share some of those findings, the red flags that you should be watching out for, whether you're a business owner or a consumer, and how to avoid these scams. We're going to get help by talking to a Connecticut business owner who was recently targeted by an impostor scam. Joining us for this discussion as well is Michelle Bourdeau. She's the director of our educational foundation. And Bob Wolff, he's the owner of Woodbury Tractor in Woodbury, Connecticut. Thank you both for being with us. Bob, you have quite a story to tell. But before we get into that, Michelle, many businesses don't think this will happen to them. But BBB's research tells us that businesses of all sizes are being targeted right now.
Absolutely, that's correct. So 80% of companies have dealt with attempted fraud in 2024. From light nuisances like those incessant emails, those spam emails we receive, to complete disruption, like scammers holding data for ransom.
So we're being inundated with these B2B scams. Can you give us a few examples of what businesses are seeing right now?
Absolutely. So that's when con artists are posing as consultants or tech support or other business service providers. They're promising to fix business problems only to steal money or sensitive information that can completely wipe out an entire business.
Because businesses have the information of their business, of their customers, and of their employees.
Correct.
So that's all up for grabs. And it's interfering with some businesses now, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Running the business day to day.
Absolutely.
It's more costly too, right, than to consumers. And we talk a lot about like protecting passwords and stuff, but what happens when it hits a business? It's a lot harder than it is for a consumer, isn't it?
It really is. Typically, if a consumer is hit with fraud, they might have to change a password or change their debit or credit card. But when it comes to a business, they're not only there to protect themselves, they have the ability where they have to protect their customers as well as their employees.
That's very costly.
Very costly.
So you mentioned that fake problem-solving services are prevalent. What other types of scams are we seeing targeting businesses right now?
Sure. So there's business identity theft, and that really occurs when criminals are posing as owners, officers, or employees of a legitimate business where they want to have illegal business transactions. So in many cases, the legitimate business has absolutely no clue that this is taking place until it's too late. They realize it once victims start coming forward and realize what has happened to their business.
And Bob knows that all too well. I want to turn to Bob now. Your business, Woodbury Tractor, was targeted by an imposter scam this year. The scammer is calling his fake business Case IH Agriculture Woodbury. Yours is Woodbury Tractor. And he's using the physical address of Woodbury Tractor on his website to bring legitimacy to the fake website and the fake business. Tell us a little bit more what happened and a little bit about your business to start off.
Okay, well, thanks for having me. I've been in business for 27 years, so we've had our fair share of, strange things that have happened. Back in May, we had someone pull into our yard and with a trailer, and they were from Maryland, and they informed us that, we're here to pick up a tractor. And that's when I first learned about it. The tractor didn't exist, obviously, and, that was news. That was the day I learned.
And what kind of went through your head when this person is telling you this story and you're realizing they've been scammed?
I felt terrible, and it's just so hard to see, innocent people just becoming victims to these kinds of scams.
And how quickly did you realize that it wasn't just one victim out there? Did you know right away?
Well, after that, the phone started ringing. And more people started coming. We had people come from Ohio, from Virginia, from Maine, all over the Northeast. And those were just, most of the people that showed up at our business were people that felt a little skeptical about the ads, thought that it might seem a little too good to be true. And, so they lost their time, unfortunately, but didn't lose money. A lot of the people that lost money were waiting for their tractors to be delivered to them. And it wasn't until that 7 to 10 day period was over that they, started wondering where their equipment was, and then they would dig a little deeper, find our business, and call us. And
did you get any angry phone calls?
we were waiting for that, but fortunately, most people have been very understanding.
They know it's not your fault.
Yeah.
About how many calls would you say you've gotten?
It was in the hundreds. I mean, we were literally answering the phone, every 20 minutes to someone. And it was kind of a day and night situation. We had people calling from all over the country. And I was afraid to not answer the phone because we wanted to warn people.
So that's taking time away from your business.
Right,
Talk a little bit about that. You talked about the impact on these consumers, but what's been the impact on your business and its reputation?
I think the reputation has remained intact, other than one angry customer who I wasn't able to get back to in time. But just being honest with people and posting about the scam on Facebook and getting information online helped, keep our credibility.
So you're working double time now on your actual business, protecting its reputation as well, answering these customers who aren't actually your customers.
Right.
That's a lot. That's a lot. The Secret Service is now involved. They are combing through the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, and they've received reports so far from victims in at least a dozen states. But the investigator I spoke to, he said that he expects by the end of this investigation that he will have a victim in every state. So let's kind of go over a little bit about the actual scam, as told to me by this Secret Service investigator. He says it's currently being perpetrated through search engines and Facebook-sponsored ads that redirect to an impostor or fraudulent website listing items well below market value. The victim interested in purchasing the items is contacted by the seller, who goes by the names Jay, Robert, or Christopher, but may use other aliases as well. The seller uses high-pressure sales tactics and may request the victim to quickly wire money after receiving what looks like a contract to sign through the Dropbox sign service. Now, the instructions on how to wire funds list an illegitimate LLC created with names in an attempt to lend credibility to the transactions. The supposed business is often located in a different state than the consumers targeted with these fraudulent advertisements. Consumers should be wary of businesses that are newly registered, particularly within the past 6 months. And that gets us to some of the signs, some of the red flags of this scam, which is the fact that, first of all, it's not exactly the same name as your business. In fact, Woodbury's not even spelled correctly.
Right.
There's an extra R.
There's an extra R. They've taken attributes from an old website that we had and kind of copied them. They have pictures of machinery on this Case IH Agriculture website in front of buildings with signs that are in South Carolina or in different states. So there are signs to look for.
You actually got a phone call from an attorney, though, in the midst of all this, right?
Right. We had a manufacturer contact us, and they were worried about copyright infringement. So we had to deal with that.
Because they thought you were the scammer. You had that scam website, and you were using an unauthorized logo on that website.
Right.
But it was really the scammer's website.
Right.
So that's another headache for you. What do you want potential customers to know? Because this is not just happening with tractors. We've seen it with cars, with vintage cars, with classic cars, car parts, pianos. I mean, pretty much anything you can buy on Facebook Marketplace you can find. So Bob, what do you want potential customers to know? What have you learned through going through this process?
Okay. Well, first of all, there are things that customers can do to protect themselves. And one of them is if you are going to send money to an entity that you may have found online, do it in a way that allows you to maybe recoup those funds, like through PayPal or Venmo. The scam we're talking about was all the payments were made by wire transfer, which is basically a permanent transaction. It cannot be reversed.
That's a big red flag.
That is a very big red flag. And also, like there are a lot of ways to verify if the business you're sending the money to is real. You can, just Googling it, like will bring up a lot of information, or check the Better Business Bureau website. You can check the state website to make sure that the business is actually registered in the state they're supposedly operating in. So do the research before you send the money and not after.
Yeah, never wire money to people that you don't know. But also, you mentioned Venmo and PayPal, but they also have policies that say, treat this as if it's cash and you trust the person you're giving the money to. It's a peer-to-peer app. It's meant to be used with your peers. So if you haven't met that owner, you don't want to necessarily use a peer-to-peer app either. Correct, Michelle?
That's correct.
That's a little dangerous. And Michelle, you've got some red flags to avoid vehicle and equipment scams.
Yes. So you want to make sure that, if the price is significantly below market value, that is a big red flag. Sometimes an owner might cite an overly personal reason they need to get rid of the vehicle. And a lot of times it could be, I'm just widowed, I'm in the military and I'm about to be deployed, really coming up with something that tugs at your heartstrings. A seller will not allow you to see the vehicle and insists upon vehicle delivery, even if you're within a reasonable driving distance to go and see such said vehicle. And then money must be sent to the third party recommended by the seller, which was just what we were talking about with,
either a wire transfer through a bank or even using a peer-to-peer app.
Correct.
That's dangerous. What can consumers do to avoid these types of scams? Because they're becoming more and more prevalent every day.
Absolutely. And it's across the board with everything, it seems, these days. So you just want to be wary of those too good to be true prices. You want to be able to pick up a vehicle yourself whenever possible. Call the business directly and ask if you can see the car in person. You want to resist those high pressure tactics, urging quick action. Remember, you're in the driving seat in this situation. You are the customer. You are the consumer. It should be on your timeline, whatever works for you to make an informed decision. You want to use secondary sources to research business's legitimacy. And as Bob stated, in this case, that even wasn't enough. You need to take it a step further. You want to try matching a business address with a phone number from an ad versus online. You want to look at any misspellings or grammar issues. A lot of times our eyes overlook that, but you really want to look at it very intently to make sure that it's legitimate. You want to check the business website to see when it was created or issued to give you a more informed decision on the business. And you can also look up the business registration with the Secretary of the State's website. And all of this is to help make a more informed decision.
Yeah, if you had done that, then you would see Woodbury Tractor is registered. Case IH Agriculture, Woodbury with 2 R's is not registered in Connecticut. But most of us, when we're shopping online, we don't take that extra stuff. We don't think about that. But these vehicles cost a lot of money, don't they?
Right.
This is not just a few $100s people are losing.
Correct.
What is your warning, Bob, to other business owners? What tips do you have now that you've been through this, maybe that they could learn from?
I'm not sure there's a lot you can do to protect against it, but if it does happen, maybe posting it on your website or on Facebook, any other type of social media, just to get the word out that there is an ongoing scam, and try to inform, your customers and the public.
If nothing else, it's at least getting the word out there and protecting your reputation, so
Correct.
people don't come at you. Right. Thank you for sharing. I'm glad that you were able to come and tell us what happened. Michelle, there's another big scam that business owners need to watch out for: data breaches.
Yeah, so data breaches on average cost $4.9 million
Per business.
Correct.
That could bring a business down.
And it does. So 60% of small businesses that suffer a cyber attack are forced to close. So oftentimes, if businesses put a priority on internal cybersecurity measures. Hopefully those efforts can help them recognize and be prepared if and when their businesses are targeted.
Do you have some tips that businesses should follow to prevent this from happening in the first place?
Of course, I always have tips. So train your employees to recognize scams. You want to double check invoices and payment procedures before sending. Verify your vendor contact information. Establish payment procedures. You want to avoid wire transfers, prepaid debit cards, and gift cards whenever possible. You might want to maintain those good records to compare against fraudsters' claims. And then don't trust caller ID or names associated with emails. Research unknown companies asking to do business. You want to install those firewalls and other security measures to help keep you protected. And you want to obtain verification on social media profiles.
Well, every day businesses juggle dozens of tasks, and it's easy to miss some of these red flags, but it's important to educate yourself and your employees because that's really the best way to stop scammers, is to not allow ourselves to be a target in the first place, and that comes through education. And Michelle, Better Business Bureau serving Connecticut has a new in-person learning hub where business owners can actually educate themselves on topics just like this one. Tell us about Ignite Sparked by BBB.
Absolutely. So Ignite Sparked by BBB is a place for the business community to come together with the hopes of business growth and development in many different ways. From the education perspective, we have the ability in our beautiful facility to operate educational programs to the business community on varying topics, from topics like this to help protect and safeguard their businesses, to also different tidbits of information and education to help their businesses grow and expand. We've had the pleasure of hosting a number of these educational opportunities recently, from how to podcast, using social media for your business to help it grow and expand, and why is that important, accessing government contracts, looking at your business credit score, as well as accessing capital, health and wellness programs to keep your business successful and your employees healthy. We run the gamut. We want to be an incubator for business development and growth, and do this through our educational efforts to the business community.
Is this just for BBB accredited businesses or all businesses?
It is for all businesses. We want to see everybody be successful and do the best that they can. So all are welcome to participate and be a part of Ignite Sparked by BBB.
So I know that you have some monthly programming where people can come in and learn, but you also have opportunities for people to use this space on a daily basis. Can you talk about the different spaces that we have and actually where it's at too?
Absolutely. So we are located in Cromwell, Connecticut, 29 Berlin Road, and it is a 5,000 square foot facility that we have recently updated in our office to provide hot desking co-working space for businesses who may not have a location to touch down and do business, as well as a barrage of different meeting rooms to fit the needs of different businesses. We have a formal boardroom. We have a creative cove for businesses to do mini meetings with their staff to be creative and come up with business strategies and plans. We have a training facility room for businesses to have in-house employee training, or even outsource for whatever their business may be for the general public and community. So it really is a hub for businesses to be able to develop, grow, conduct business, and be successful.
So, you know, this kind of was born out of the fact that during the pandemic, a lot of offices closed, right? Yeah. And there was no place to go, no place to meet. Some people maybe drive up to the local coffee shop and, you know, plug in for a couple hours, but now they can come use this space as well. And they can bring their staff together again without having to buy a building or rent office space, that sort of thing.
That is correct. Yes.
And you mentioned training rooms. So we're doing training, but businesses can also come in and do their own training.
Absolutely.
And you're usually, as far as I know, you're often looking for businesses to come in and maybe lead some of these Spark programs. You want to talk a little bit about what Spark is?
Sure. So our Spark Educational Series is where we bring in professionals in different industries to come and share with business professionals ways that they can look out for their business in different ways. So if anybody is ever interested in being a presenter on different topics and different things, I'm the person to reach out to.
So we're going to be putting both the Ignite website up and your email address up so people know how to find out about what our next educational event is, and if they want to be a speaker, how they can get in touch with you as well. So they'll do that. That's great. That's great.
Wonderful.
Well, thank you for sharing about that. Hopefully that people, business owners across Connecticut will take advantage of this new opportunity. We want to give the address one more time.
Absolutely. It's 29 Berlin Road, Cromwell, Connecticut.
Thank you. And back to the issue at hand with the scams targeting businesses, we want to let people know that if you have been a victim of this tractor scam, federal investigators are asking that you report it in detail to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. That website is ic3.gov, ic3.gov. And of course, you can always report any scam, regardless of whether you've lost money, to BBB Scam Tracker. And that website is bbb.org/scam tracker. It's actually through those reports that we learned about the Case IH Agriculture Woodbury scam. We were able to then furnish those to the FBI Crime Complaint Center, and those investigators who are looking into it kind of work together to try to hopefully get a hold of the people behind this scam. Now, if you'd like to look up any scam, find out what's trending, who's being targeted, what kind of scam you'd most likely be targeted by, you can do that as well at bbb.org/scam tracker. There you'll find out what types of scams you're most likely to be targeted by based on your demographics. You can take quizzes and access our Scam Survivor Toolkit to help you recover if you've lost money or personal information. So check out the BBB Scam Tracker. We can only help as much as the information that we know. So if you share that information with us, then we can get that out to consumers all over Connecticut and all over the country, and hopefully stop these scammers in their tracks. I think the best way to do that is by educating ourselves, and that's how we're going to get ahead of this and stop these scammers. Again, thank you both for being with us today. I think it's been educational both to consumers and to businesses, and I think that's so important. So Bob, again, thank you for sharing your story.
Thanks for having me.
And Michelle, thank you for all the great tips.
Thank you so much.
We look forward to having you back on in the near future. And thank you for joining us today for Trust Talks. We'll see you next time.
Step into our store and discover a stunning array of dancewear. Introducing Dancingly Yours, your one-stop shop for all things dance and delight for ages 2 to 92. From tiny tutus to energetic tap shoes, our store is a treasure trove of dance essentials. At Dancingly Yours, we offer an extensive collection of dancewear and accessories that cater to all styles and levels. We carry top brands and the latest fashion trends. From ballet to hip-hop, lyrical to jazz, ballroom to liturgical, as well as gymnastics, you'll find the best selection right here at Dancingly Yours. But we're not just a store. We're a community that celebrates the joy of dance. Our expert team is passionate about dance, just like you. So we're here to assist you in finding the perfect fit. And the best part, Dancingly Yours offers competitive pricing in-store and online. Dancingly Yours, easy to get to, and worth the trip from anywhere, right on Route 10 in Plainville.